is the meeting.
You want to say that again?
It is 9:05. This is Monday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day for everyone. We'll start with the Local Development Corporation. The following board members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Grucci, Mr. Paprocki, Mr. Polakowski, Mr. Braun. Quorum is present. Minutes of our meeting of January 12th have been circulated to everyone. I have a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Grucci. Second? Is there a second?
Second, Gary.
Thank you. Are there any questions? On the vote, Mr. Callahan? Marty, you may be muted.
You are.
Yeah, Marty's muted.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Grucci.
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. The motion carries. I'll turn it over to Lori for a financial report.
I just want to add to the minutes that it's 9:06 and Ms. Scheit has joined the meeting.
Good morning, Emery.
Morning,
Good
Ann.
morning. Sorry to be late. When I got down to the kitchen, no one had made coffee yet.
That's
So
important today.
I had to make it myself.
Lori?
Okay. Included in your package is the December LDC operating results year to date and for the month. As mentioned, there's no activity during the current year or the current month other than interest and our recurring expenses for insurance and also our accounting fees and legal transcription. So these are the numbers also for year to date. The audit is currently in progress. At this point, it looks like the numbers will stay as presented. We will be setting up a meeting in March to have the audit results approved and reviewed at a later time. Is there any questions?
No.
Lori, just as we discussed earlier, those have to be approved in March so we can file Paris by the 31st of March. Is that correct?
That's correct. And Paris is pretty much underway. We've been inputting all the results.
I have a motion to accept her report, please.
So moved,
moved.
Gary.
Thank you.
Second.
Emery is a second. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes,
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. That motion carries. Thank you.
The other item in my report is I just want to mention that all of our payments have been made timely for any taxes withheld or any other required payments. They have been made timely.
And did you need to designate the newspaper?
Yes, so we have two other items that are on the agenda, two resolutions. One of them is the designation of a newspaper. So I noticed that the town board adopts a newspaper of record, basically, or newspapers of record every year. And I checked with Annette and she suggested that we do the same thing. I would say exclusively as far as our public hearing notices are concerned, use Newsday. We can either follow what the town does and just follow their resolution, or we can just adopt Newsday. Annette is not on yet, but Bill, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, the newspaper, for both tax purposes, for notices, as well as even the general municipal law, should be one of at least townwide circulation. And I'm not sure any of the local newspapers are completely townwide, so I think you are stuck with Newsday.
Okay. So that's
Who-
the, what was that, Bill?
I said, who does the town use?
They have a whole list. I think they use Newsday for their official notices, but then they also run some things, or at least in that resolution, they had all the local, the sort of the smaller newspapers. And I guess maybe that's when they want something that's in a targeted area.
Why don't we make
I
it
mean,
official
the-
resolution to adopt Newsday as our newspaper of record? May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Second?
Second, Marty Callahan.
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
the Braun votes yes, motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is some updates to our conflict of interest policy. I noticed that we had in our policy that, I'm sorry, I just got a thing that I think Annette is trying to get.
I
Just, will you
just saw it too. I'm emailing her right now.
Okay, thank you so much. I noticed that our conflict of interest policy states that you're supposed to alert our governance committee if you have a conflict. And given that our governance committee meets 2 or 3 times a year, it just seems a little bit awkward, and more effective in talking to Annette would be for us to change that policy so that you have to alert the full board, which is, as we're working through projects and as conflicts come up, that's what we've been doing.
And
So-
it should also be the full board and the general counsel.
I'm sorry, it does say general counsel. The only piece that I was changing was from governance committee to full board. So I just wanted to suggest that edit.
Bill, do we need that in form of resolution?
Yes.
Somebody care to make that, move that, please?
So move.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Second?
Second, Felix Grucci.
Any questions about that? On the vote then, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Grucci,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Scheit,
Yes.
votes yes, the motion carries. Lisa, is there anything else?
Nope, that's all I have for the LDC. Did anyone have anything else?
If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Local Development Corporation
At 9:12 a.m.
at 9:12 a.m. Correct.
So moved, Gary
moved, Felix.
Polakowski.
On the vote, Mr. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Callahan.
Yes.
Braun votes yes, the meeting is closed or adjourned, I should say. We'll now open the meeting of the Industrial Development Agency. It is 9:13. This is Monday, February 14th. The following board members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Grucci, Ms. Paprocki, Mr. Polakowski, Mrs. Scheit, and Mr. Braun. The quorum is present. Minutes of our meeting of January 12th, 2022 have been circulated. May I have a motion to accept those?
So
So
moved,
moved.
Gary.
Second.
Thank you. On the vote. Oh, well, any questions of those minutes? Excuse me. Hearing none. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Grucci,
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. The minutes are accepted. I now will entertain a motion for the Industrial Development Agency to go into executive session.
Moved.
So move.
Thank you.
I'll send the link right now.
On the vote, Mr. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Braun votes yes. We are into executive session.
Okay, everybody bear with me. I'll get us in there.
So we leave this one, correct?
Correct.
Started again. To come out of executive session, please.
So
Make a
move.
motion to come out of executive session into regular session.
Thank you.
Yeah,
On the vote,
Grucci.
I don't see Mr. Callahan. Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes. Sorry.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
Ron votes yes. We are back in the regular session. I should mention that we're in executive session to discuss items of litigation and personnel. Lisa, you have something else you need to read in?
Yes, I apologize. I should have read this earlier in the meeting. Today's meeting has been conveyed in accordance with Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, effective September 2nd, 2021 through January 15th, 2022, permitting local governments to hold meetings by telephone and video conference.
Okay. Lori,
Did we do the minutes?
I thought we did, but maybe not.
We did them? Joss is nodding. Okay. Lori?
Okay. Okay, included in the package is the operating results versus budget for the year ended 12/31/21. During the month of December, we had a number of items. We had one termination fee, one sales tax extension, one application, and 6 closings. Also, during the month of December, you'll see there are some changes within the expense allocation, and that's just because the accruals were all adjusted for the year end. Right now, we're in the process of having our audit performed, and to date, everything looks on target as what we've presented. Any questions on the December results, year to date versus budget?
Like a motion to accept Lori's report, please.
So move.
Seconded.
Thank you. On the vote, Mrs. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
yes,
Mr. Grucci,
yes,
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Ron votes yes. Financial report is accepted.
Also, I want to mention for the month, well, actually for the month of December and also year to date, all timely payments have been made for taxes, any pilots received, etc.
When you say pilots, you mean within the 30 days, correct?
Yes, well within the 30 days.
Thank you.
Once the check clears, we get those pilot payments right in.
Thank you.
Lastly, in my report, I just want to mention that we did receive an ethics complaint, and we did an investigation, and I found there were no ethic violations. As the ethics officer, that's part of my responsibility. I'm closing the matter. There was a report that has been filed with the IDA. Any questions?
I need a resolution to accept Lori's report.
So moved. Gary
Gary,
Polakowski.
is there a second?
Second.
second, Felix Grucci,
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
yes,
Mr. Paprocki,
yes,
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. Motion carries. Lisa?
Actually, Lori, do you want to just touch on 2 other things? You want to just give them an update on, well, you guys, your ethics forms are due. Please get those into Lori as soon as possible. And then Lori, do you want to give them an update on the actuary? I'd like them to approve that.
Yes. As part of our employee benefits package, we offer some health insurance after retirement. For purposes of financial reporting under the GASBs, there is required for disclosure. And what we needed to do was have an actuary evaluation. We use the services of an actuary that has been doing very similar valuations for other IDAs. He sent us a proposal, and his fee for the year 1 is $1,800 and thereafter $200. And that is, I just wanted to get approval on that.
Lori, am I correct in saying once that amount has been determined, it would be so noted on the balance sheet with a restricted cash notation for that amount?
That component of the restriction of cash, I'm not sure we can designate the cash. I'm not sure we can restrict it, but there will be a footnote, and there'll also be an earmarking of, I would say, our fund balance for such amount.
Thank you.
Any
Any other questions of Lori? Okay, thank you very much.
Did we do a resolution?
To,
Yeah, we need you guys to, I guess, approve the hiring or ratify the hiring of,
The expert.
Menard,
yes.
Menard Actuary,
Yes.
MEARD.
Somebody
Make
care
a
to move
motion
that?
to accept the actuary.
Thank you, Felix. Is
Felix.
there a second?
Second,
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mr. Grucci?
Yes,
Ms. Paprocki?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit?
yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. That motion carries as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And don't forget to get your ethics forms in as soon as possible.
And also just along with the audit that I was mentioning when I was presenting the results, we are in the process of finalizing the audit and also entering all the information into Paris. Paris is due by the end of March, so we will have a meeting with the board to present our draft audit and our draft results for your approval in March. Any questions on that one?
I think we're good. You have applications.
I do. I have 3 applications for the board. The first one on the agenda is East Patchogue Apartments. Just see, is Tim Shea on? Yeah, Joss, will you bring Tim in? While Joss is bringing counsel for the project in, I'll give you a quick overview. This is this application, which was included in your packets, is for 400, a project proposed at 400 East Main Street in East Patchogue. There, it's almost 2.8 acres that's mostly vacant. There is a 1-story building on there. The plan is to create a 55-unit multifamily rental facility for people within the 50 to 100% of the area medium income AMI. It's a almost $28 million project. The expectation is that it will create 2 full-time equivalent projects. They're requesting mortgage recording tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and a pilot coterminous with their regulatory agreements. And just, I should have said this earlier, this is actually within an overlay district that the town created. Tim, is there anybody from your client that's in our waiting room that we should bring over? Tim, yeah, you're muted. Bill, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Oh, there
it
is.
Lisa,
Sorry.
can you let Frank Trotta into the meeting?
Oh, is that, we've been trying to find out if that was him.
That's him.
Okay. Joss, you see? Okay, Tim, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you put it very succinctly, Lisa, just so that the board is aware. This is an overlay district founded by the town. The development proposal is consistent with the overlay district. We are giving a range of rental units, starting at a low of 50% of AMI, with 80% at 60% of AMI or less, and 90% of the project at 90% of AMI or less. That's, we're going to be applying for tax credit, and we would ask that the board accept our application. And I think that's about it.
Are there questions from the board?
just one question, Tim. Exactly where is this is it on Montauk Highway?
It is on Montauk Highway. It's on the corner of Montauk Highway and Grove. And the property abutting it to the east is the Salvation Army Park property, which would probably be the most identifiable landmark for you to find it.
All right, thanks.
Tim, north or south side of Main Street?
It is on the south side of Montauk
Okay.
Highway, east of Grove.
And the sewer line runs that far?
The applicant has met with the village of Patchogue, and there is, I believe, a resolution has been passed for Patchogue to allow us to hook up to their treatment plant. The line has been extended or is in the process of being extended all the way down Montauk Highway, and will pass by our site.
Terrific. Any other questions to the board? If not, I'll-
Tim, the original application says that you were at that point, that was a couple of months ago, still looking for the tax credit investor. Are you still looking?
Here.
Tim, we can't hear you.
You muted?
They,
Now we can.
no, that has not been finalized at this point.
Because I am on the board of the Community Development Corporation of Long Island, we do deal with those kinds of folks. If you want any suggestions, just let me know.
I will be certain to reach out to you.
Okay, good enough.
There are no further questions. Entertain a motion to accept the application, please.
So moved, Gary Polakowski.
Thank you.
Second,
Second,
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Rucci,
yes.
Polakowski. Gary,
Yes.
Jai,
yes,
Mr. Trotta, who joined the meeting at 11:14,
Thank you.
Yes.
and Mr. Braun votes yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, I'm in the meeting
The
already.
next item
I
on
gave
the
you-
agenda
I'll go back
is an
to-
application for, actually, you know what? Tim, you want to just stay on? I'm going to take this a little bit out of order.
Okay, thanks.
The next application is for a project called AIREF Station Road Logistics Center LLC. Mr. Shea is also representing this application, so I figured we'd just take them out of order. This project is for a proposed 523,000 square foot industrial development, industrial building. It's actually split between 3 buildings. It's currently 53 acres that are vacant on Station Road in Bellport. It's a $121 million project, and the expectation is between 130 and 300 jobs will be created. Does anyone have any questions on this?
So I recall, Tim, this project has been bouncing around for a while. It was retail, it was commercial, it was retail, now it's back to commercial, correct?
Yeah, well, the zoning has always been industrial on this particular site. It has been the topic of various development proposals over the years, many of which required a change of zone. At this point, the applicant is proposing a use under the L1 district, which is the district for the 53-acre site. The use would be for a trucking terminal requiring a special permit from the planning board along with the site plan approval. It would incorporate 3 buildings with a total square footage of approximately 523 square feet. It is located on the east side of Station Road, north of the South Service Road to Sunrise Highway, and on the south side of Woodside Avenue on the north. There would be somewhere between 130 and 300 permanent jobs provided. Construction costs alone will be, together with site work and construction, will be over $60 million. We anticipate that there will be over 200 construction jobs as a result of this application, and we're asking that the board accept the application at this time.
Tim, is the developer a Long Island-based person or company?
This is I would say, national company, the development company.
Thank you.
Could you give me Tim, could you give me a landmark about where this is on?
Okay, you know where the Home Depot on Sunrise is,
Yes,
where the outlets are?
yes,
Okay, it would be really opposite Station Road to the east of where the outlets are.
okay,
And then it goes up Station Road north from the South Service Road all the way up to Woodside. And it has a proposed curb cut on Woodside for the truck traffic.
can you just tell me a little bit about the jobs that will be created from it?
Well, that they would be normal warehouse type jobs. There'll be trucking jobs. There'll be people who will be, supplying and moving materials within the warehouse itself. There will be some office jobs, and so it'll be. But again, this is being built to spec, so we can't tell you what the exact ratio of jobs will be under certain
Understood.
areas. That's why we put it at 130. We think 130 is a very low number compared to what we anticipate in the future. But we didn't want to overpromise and undersell. We'd rather come in high. And it's going to be a substantial investment locally within the community. It is over $100 million project when everything's factored in. And like I said, the construction is going to be, by my estimate, over $60 million. Construction, site work, et cetera. Professionals, all the costs.
Thank you.
Tim, when you say a trucking terminal, and I think I heard you say terminal, did I hear that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay. Are we talking about independent truckers being able to pull their truck in and offload their goods and then pick up goods and move out? Are we talking about a unionized operation? I'm a little confused as to what it is. We're not talking about a truck rental facility,
No.
are we?
Not a truck rental. The town of Brookhaven in their code has a couple of different definitions for uses under the code for industrial uses. They have warehouse, traditional warehouse. What has happened over the last couple of years is that we have more of these last mile type delivery services, and we have the ball is moving with regard to how you describe a particular facility. In this case, the applicant met with the town and described that it would be trucks coming in and out on a regular basis, and it would be on a turnover. So a traditional warehouse, from the town's perspective, has always been you bring something into the warehouse and it stays for 5, 10, 15, 20 days. Could be even longer. It's anticipated that goods will be coming in and out on a regular basis from this particular location. And therefore the town requested and felt that applying it for a special permit as a trucking facility would be appropriate.
Mm-hmm. So correct me if I'm misunderstanding you. Let's pick a specific scenario. A tractor trailer arrives with goods on it, comes into
Correct.
the terminal, gets offloaded, and then smaller trucks take those goods to various different distribution places, people's homes, people's businesses. Is that the kind of an operation we're talking about?
That could be one of the options, Felix. Again, it's really going to depend upon who the end users are as to the exact way that it's going to be used. But the site is designed in such a way that there's a lot of trucking bays and areas for trucks, the tractor trailers to be stored overnight. And thus the town has requested that they apply for the special permit under the trucking facility definition. It's kind of a wide definition. It does give a certain degree of flexibility with regard to the end user. And again, in that it's being built spec, we'll have a better idea of exactly who when we get the end users and get closer to the end, we will know exactly how it's going to be fashioned on a per building, per area basis. It's 3 buildings, one on the side, one in the middle, one on the north side, and each one could have a different a user and slightly different.
Did they need a change of zone for that? If I am not, if I'm
Slightly
correct, I
different,
believe that's all L1 in that area.
Moving forward, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
They'll have a different operation. It may slightly change depending upon who the end user is.
Felix?
No, I was
Felix.
asking about zoning. Do they need
No.
a change of zone for that?
No,
No change.
it's zoned correctly for this use.
It's like a nice building.
Yeah. Sounds like a good operation.
If
Thanks,
there-
Tim.
If there
Yeah,
are
you're
no
welcome.
further questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the application.
Tim, how do the anticipated salaries and wages line up with the AMI figures that you cited before?
Well, the AMI figures that I cited in the last application were with regard to the rental rates. We would anticipate that the salaries here for people both during the construction and during the operation will be commensurate with, the norms of the area. I mean, I can't say for sure. Again, it's not spec. It's a spec building. And so at the end of the day, they'll probably be within the norms of people employed in those types of businesses.
Thank you.
May I have a resolution, please?
Make a motion to accept Felix Grucci.
Gary Polk.
On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Strike,
Yes,
Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes, that motion carries. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much and have a great day.
Good luck, Counselor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
take good care.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is an application for a project called G4-18197 LLC. Joss, if you would bring Peter Curry in, just while Joss brings Mr. Curry in. This is also like the East Patchogue Apartments. I just want to draw a line because they're similar projects, but these are 2 separate projects coming forward. This is also a residential development. This is at 365 through 369 East Main Street. This is the former Plaza Theater property. Just as you guys were asking about landmarks on the last project. I believe currently there is a laundromat and a Dunkin' Donuts also on this parcel. On the north side of Main Street in East Patchogue. Let's see, the plan is for a 40-unit residential facility. It's going to have 4 workforce and 4 affordable units. It's going to be 3 2-story buildings. It's roughly a $9 million project, and it's on just over 2 acres. This is also part of the town's East Patchogue Overlay District, and they're requesting sales tax, mortgage recording tax exemption, and a pilot. And there will be 1 part-time job after construction, and they're estimating 60 construction jobs. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Curry is on, he's representing the project.
And I would ask that you allow Robert Antonucci on also.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Peter or for Mr. Antonucci when he joins?
Really? Peter,
Go ahead, Frank.
okay. Where the laundromat is and the Dunkin' Donuts, they're coming out, is that correct? I know where the Plaza Theater was, and then adjacent to that is what Lisa referred to earlier.
Yeah, I'll let Mr. Antonucci indicate where the property is.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure. Is Rob on yet?
He's on. He just needs to.
Yes, I'm on.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Just need to-
Okay.
There you go.
Did you hear Mr. Trotta's question?
I did not, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I gave a quick overview. This is Lisa Mulligan. Oh, and I'm so sorry. Our stenographer asked that I do a better job, which I just screwed up pretty royally, of making sure that everybody states and spells their name and says their affiliation. So I missed Tim Shea, who was counsel for the last two projects. But Peter, will you just do that for the record, please?
Certainly. My name is Peter Curry, Curry. I'm an attorney at Farrell Fritz PC, 400 RXR Plaza, Uniondale, New York, 11556. With me today is Robert Antonucci, and I will allow him to do his spelling and his location.
I, Robert Antonucci, Antonucci, 111 South Street, Oyster Bay, New York.
Thank you, guys. So, Mr. Antonucci, what Frank Trotta asked is if you would tell us a little bit about where the parcel is. He's familiar with the former Plaza Theater property, but I mentioned that your project is anticipated to cross over where the current laundromat and the Dunkin' Donuts is. And I think what Mr. Trotta was asking was what's going to happen with the Dunkin' Donuts and the laundromat that are there now.
Okay, our property is actually behind that cancer center. Our access is beside the cancer center and the Dunkin' Donuts. So those two parcels that you're speaking about are not part of our job.
Oh, okay.
It's a separate parcel.
Thank you, because I Googled it. So that's where I got, when I looked at the
Not a
address,
problem.
which is not an exact
Yep.
science.
This property is currently owned by the town of Brookhaven. It's under contract with the purchaser. So it is property that's off the tax rolls. And in addition to it being in the zone, the overlay district, the town is interested in getting the property back as effective tax roll use.
Robert, this is Felix Rucci, the property that you're referring to, the access will be on that side road and not off of Main Street?
No, the access is off of Main Street. We have a right-of-way that runs parallel to the cancer center. And our entrance will be at the back of the cancer center, not directly behind it, a little bit to the east of it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Mr. Curry or Mr. Antonucci?
Hello?
What units is this going to be? I'm sorry, I can't find
There's
that.
40.
There are 40 two-bedroom apartments.
Thank you.
What are the size of the apartments, Robert?
They're 1,150 square feet.
Okay, that's nice.
The entire project is
They're all
about
two
49,000
bedrooms,
square
Robert?
feet. They're all 2 bedrooms, yes.
They're all, that's my,
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the application.
I make a motion?
Thank you,
I'll
Frank. Is there a second?
Yes, Gary.
One second.
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Trotta,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Dr. Rocky,
Yes,
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Braun votes yes, motion carries. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, members of the board, Mr. Chairman, and have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day. All right.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's
you,
Day
Peter.
to you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Lisa, before you go on to the next project, I just wanted to apologize for being late today, but I just wanted everybody to know, if they didn't, that I had a Stony Brook Council meeting that was previously scheduled prior to us making this meeting. So I hustled here as quick as I could.
Okay, you did, that's
Frank,
fine.
very glad to know your time was so well spent this morning.
I've been zooming since 9.
Frank, will you do me a favor? Will you add your last name to your,
Sure.
yeah, thank you.
How do I do that?
I can do it.
Joss will take care of it.
Oh, Joshua, great. Thank you.
We were trying to get in touch with you to find out if it was you in the waiting room.
Oh,
If we
okay.
had your last name, then we would have known.
Ah,
Sorry for the delay. Frank was actually here for a little while before we were sure that it was him to let him in. Sorry. The next item on the agenda is a resolution for DNF Patchogue. Okay, so this is, just to remind everybody, this is an assisted living that we did a while back. It's in Patchogue. It's on Main Street. And they are requesting your consent to a proposed transfer from a 1031 entity that they created back to DNF. Bill, do you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, so yeah, there was a 1031. It's really just involving the company lease, not the project lease. So it's, back in 2016, they assigned the company lease to a 1031 exchange entity, and now they're signing the company lease back to DNF special purpose entity, the company.
And I know that there are some representatives from the project that are in our waiting room. Does anyone have any questions for them?
Too late.
Marty, did you want to add something?
Oh, I'm sorry, I left the room for a minute for another
Oh,
couple.
okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you talking. I mean,
Nope, I'm sorry.
Jess, I know that Peter Flory is in the waiting room. Do you want to let Mr. Flory in?
Looks like he's in. But my eyes are right.
Yep, your eyes are right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
Hi. Len D'Amico, I think, is also with us in the waiting room, who's my partner on this.
Jess, do you see, okay. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Flory or Mr. D'Amico?
Which project was this, Lisa?
I'm sorry, Marty. This was for DNF Patchogue. This is in the assisted living that's on Main
okay.
Street on the north side. And they just requesting a change to, as Bill just explained, a change to the one of the agreements.
Okay.
Does
Any board member have any questions? Hearing none, a motion to approve, please.
So
So
moved,
moved.
Felix Carucci.
Second one, Laura Paparaki.
On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Grucci,
Yes,
Paprocki,
Yes,
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
yes,
Mr. Trotter.
yes. And don't forget, we need to get titles for everybody, Lisa, for the stenographer, for the last two that came in.
Thank you, Frank. Mr. Flory, would you just state and spell your name for the record and your affiliation, please? I keep forgetting this and I keep getting reminded and I keep forgetting. Sorry.
Peter Flory, Principal in DNF Development Group and DNF Patchogue.
Thank you.
And who else?
And
Peter, was somebody else on there?
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, Len
D'Amico.
D'Amico's on as well. He's muted.
yeah,
he's muted.
How's that? Better?
better.
How's that?
Yep.
Leonard D'Amico, Leonard, DAMICO, Principal of DNF Development and Village Walk, Carlisle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, Mr. Braun votes yes, so the motion is carried. Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
gentlemen.
great day. Thank you.
Okay.
The next item on our agenda is the American Organic Energy Project. To remind everybody, this is the proposed anaerobic digester. We had a request for them for your consent to change the ownership structure to include Verity Energy LLC. Included in your packets are the application, the org chart, the cost benefit analysis. We had a public hearing and there were comments. Those comments are included in your packets. In addition, we got the transcript this morning, so the transcript was sent out, just before the meeting. But I read those comments verbatim into the transcript. So it's what the letters that you got are basically what the transcript for the public hearing says. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question, Bill. You quoting odds on this closing?
They are, believe it or not, really close to closing. It was just bringing in they did not want to increase the mortgage amounts. Or the lenders didn't want to increase the mortgage amounts, so they are bringing in additional equity in. So as soon as the ID approves this, I believe we'll be able to set up a closing date. Knock on wood. So it's only taken us like 7 years to get here.
I remember when they came in to talk to us.
Yep.
It was in the conference room.
Have a
Is this
motion,
like the-
please?
Is that, quick question, Fred,
Yeah.
is that like the equivalent, this company, of like a Covanta? Does it do like the
No,
same?
no.
Or no, what is
No.
this?
What they,
So
what,
can you tell me what it does? Because I don't understand what that biochemical thing means.
so
Gotcha.
basically what they do is they take food waste, yard waste, other organic material. They put it in a machine, they chop it up, it goes in, it gets basically digested, fermented, almost like, think of a cow's stomach. What comes out, there's 3 products that come out. There is natural gas, which can be used to create energy, either electricity or to generate the heat to run the plant. There will be solid waste that comes out that will be used to make, that nice garden mulch you buy in bags, at Home Depot or Lowe's, place like that. And then pure water, which can go back into the aquifer. So it is a very green technology. It's not burning anything, and the methane or natural gas that is produced as a result of, breaking down the organic materials is used to produce energy. So that part of it's similar to Covanta, but it's not a mass burn. Covanta burns garbage to
Right.
produce steam and used to produce electricity. So this is a little bit different.
Okay, thank you for that.
That's why they call it a biodigester, because it literally
Learning
just
something
like
new every day.
world's biggest cow gut.
No further questions for Bill or Lisa. A motion, please.
Motion?
Thank you.
Second?
On the vote, Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes,
Mr. Grucci.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. That motion carries as well.
Thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is setting the public hearing for the second Ronk Hub condemnation public hearing. I'm going to suggest that we shoot for May 4th or 11th. I need to reach out to a few other people and make sure that, either of those dates works for them, but that's my suggestion to the board.
So we need a resolution to that effect, subject to the ability to get Judge Cohen and at least the attorneys on board for one of those 2 dates. Please, motion.
So, Bill Grucci.
Second,
Gary Polkowski.
Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
yes,
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter.
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Fred, will you be needing me for a quorum going forward?
I think we're okay, Felix.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to jump off.
I know you've got.
Have a
important
pleasant day, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank
Take
you.
care, Felix. Enjoy
You
the
too,
day.
Felix.
Bye now.
Yeah.
It's 11:45 a.m. Mr. Grucci is leaving the meeting. Joss, will you bring Zach and Harvey back in just for the next piece of the meeting. The next item on the agenda is the Ronkonkoma Hub adopting the findings and determinations. They have been sent to the board members in advance of the meeting. Does anyone have any questions?
This is for the hearing that took place on November
Yes.
16th, with a subsequent 30-day period for any further public input in writing, which expired December 16th. We need to have a motion to accept those findings.
With a caveat in that verbal resolution that that we are accepting the findings, but no further action. Attorneys jump in if I'm mixing this up, but that no further action will take place without the required board resolutions and direction to attorneys.
I think, Lisa, all you have to do is add to that 55, subject to further direction of the IDA, and that will be fine.
But in the
If it's
resolution.
okay with everybody.
No, yeah, just in the resolution, not in the
Right.
findings.
Just in the
So,
resolution. Right.
okay,
I will move it. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
yes.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Paprocki,
Yes.
Ms. Blackrod, excuse me, Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
The Braun votes yes, the motion is carried. Thanks, Zach. Harvey.
thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
we can
guys.
get off? Okay.
Yeah, and Zach and Harvey, just follow up with the final synopsis that we need to send out, please.
Okay, and just so you know, we've already spoken to Alan Hyman. He's going to speak to the clients in relation to what we talked about today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Bye.
The next item on the agenda is Macedo Construction, Macedo Holding. We did not get the information that I was hoping for in order for us to take action today. So we're going to hold that hopefully till our next meeting. The next item on the agenda is the Middle Country Meadows Sewer Subordination. Basically, they're just looking for your consent to the execution and recording of a Suffolk County sewer connection agreement. The county won't move ahead with it without our approval. Bill, did you have anything you wanted to add? Oh, this is a project on Middle Country Road in Selden on the north side, kind of behind the Starbucks that's there. And it's a housing project. It's not yet under construction, I don't believe, but I suspect it's going to be starting soon.
The developers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is standard. The county always requires us to sign these subordinations for the sewer connection, so.
Yeah.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Anne Marie. Any questions of Bill or Lisa? Hearing none on the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Carucci, excuse me, he's not here. Mr. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Braun votes yes, the motion carries.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is designating a newspaper of record. Like we did in the LDC, I'm suggesting that we designate the Newsday as our newspaper of record.
May I have a motion?
So
Let everybody jump at once. Is there a motion?
so moved.
Thank you.
Second,
Thank you.
Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Paprocki,
Yes.
Callahan,
Yes.
Braun votes yes, the motion is carried.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the incentive compensation goals. Just to remind everybody, annually, we adopt goals for staff to work towards. Proposed this year is a compensation total potential payout pool of 75,000. We are suggesting that we leave the weights of the goals the same as they were last year, but that we change some of the specific goals. Basically, you want me to just hold it? Okay, basically, investment, the goal for investment would be 300 million. Jobs created or retained would be 1,750. The number of projects closed would be 20 projects. The projects that are approved but not yet closed at the end of the year would be 15, so the pipeline projects. And that of those 20 projects closed, 3 would fall within our adaptive reuse policy.
Any questions? Motion to accept the incentive compensation plan for 2022, please.
Motion?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Paul Koski,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Ron votes yes, the motion is carried.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our conflict of interest policy. Like discussed in the LDC, as we were going through this policy, we realized there was a couple of things that, actually one item that we probably should adjust. It's said in our policy that anyone who has a conflict should report it to our governance committee. Given the fact that our governance committee meets 2, maybe 3 times a year, it didn't seem like that was a advisable way to move forward. So I checked with council. Everybody thought it was reasonable that we change it so that if you have a conflict of interest, you have to report it to the full board. And as Bill pointed out, it also says and council in there. So, and that's what we have been doing. So I just wanted to make sure that our policy was in line with reality.
Let's sort of formalize that. I'll need a resolution, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Ms. Paprocki,
Yes.
Mr. Paul Koski,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Ron votes yes. Motion carries.
Okay, the last item that's on our agenda is a brief presentation from Todd Shapiro Associates. Joss, I'm not sure if that's, I think that Brian is on. He said he was waiting, but I'm not sure.
I don't know if he's the one that's just numbers or if.
Brian,
he's
would you
the
raise your
one-
hand so we can bring you over?
Sport
Okay,
lacrosse.
okay.
Just a question, Lisa.
Sure, Anne Marie.
I have another commitment at noon. Is this, I know that our meetings are scheduled for 3 hours, but I think this is the first one that's actually run that long. And I don't
It's
want to
okay.
be rude to, I don't want to be rude to Northport Lacrosse. But I will have to leave at that time.
That's okay, Anne
Brian, you're
Marie.
muted.
We will have enough members to vote to get out of the meeting. So that's fine. Thank you.
No,
Lisa-
thank you very much.
Lisa,
I'm glad you all know where I went to high school and what I played during my senior year now. So
Annette?
you could
Yeah,
probably access just about every email I've ever had my whole life now. So
Annette, do you need to run?
yeah, I have a 12 o'clock. Bye, everybody.
See you, Annette.
Thanks,
Take care,
Annette.
Anne Marie.
Aye.
Brian,
Okay, Brian, do you want to just give a brief overview of what you guys have been working on?
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. I know that it's been a lengthy meeting, so I don't want to hold up everybody's time. But myself and the team at Todd Shapiro Associates, my colleague Alan and Luca, have been working on a variety of different, PR endeavors for the Brookhaven IDA. And I just wanted to, I guess, with the time constraint, I just wanted to go over a couple of different things that were more forward facing. I could put together a written report and send it over to Lisa and the other representatives of the IDA for the purposes of everybody's time, if that is most appropriate and also in accordance with protocol.
That's fine. If you send it to me, I'll share it with everybody. Does
Okay.
anybody have questions or things that you'd like to make sure that Brian includes in that report? We can obviously always follow up with Brian to get more detail, but if there's anything on the front end that you'd like to see included.
Yes, this is Gary Polkowski. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. I just want to make sure that we have a clear outlook as to the direction of how we're leveraging our digital properties and what we're going to be doing with marketing and how, budget will be allocated towards marketing in those digital spaces. So metrics that include followership, engagement, just, general traffic statistics, to the point of even lead generation if we have that ability.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because actually a pretty significant chunk of what I have to say today is with regard to social media and the plans going forward that we have. And actually, it has a little bit of a paid ad push on that side. So I might as well answer your question. So right now we have about 2,400 followers on Facebook. There has been growth in the years that we've been working together, but that being said, I think that growth needs to become exponentially larger. And working in concert with the social media team that we have here, we've put together a proposal for social media, about $250 a month. So it's not anything that's over the top in online promotion spend. But what we and obviously this is all up for discussion and interpretation. If there's any glaring issue with the universe that I'm proposing, I welcome feedback. But Todd and our team over here is suggesting that we put together a $250 a month promoted ad spend on 2 separate platforms, Facebook and Instagram, because they're beneath the umbrella ownership of Meta. They can cross promote, which will mutually benefit the 2 profiles. What we can do is target universes within 25 miles of the center of the town of Brookhaven, and target the business community based upon interest and based upon followership, Gary, if you understand what I'm saying. So some of the different proposals.
Quick, sorry. So you're saying within 25 miles. I thought we were looking for boroughs, New Jersey, Connecticut, as a better use of our targeting.
No, and absolutely we can do that, but this is for the specific one that I'm referring to. So it's not specific to the 25 miles radius. This is in addition to interest-based targeting. So it's not strictly people that are interested in architecture, engineering, business and finance, economic development, IT and technological in that 25-mile radius, but also in addition to the 25-mile radius surrounding the heart of Brookhaven. I'm sorry if I was unclear.
You also have LinkedIn in this model?
Yeah, well, yes, obviously, and that's something that I also wanted to speak about. And in February or in January, I put together a little bit more of an exhaustive report on our social media trajectory, and I thought that there were a few separate organic side ways that we could grow our profiles and our digital footprint. One of those being, and Lisa and Amy, I had discussed this with briefly, and they had approved, is revamping our email signatures. Well, that's not the most sexy of topics. The best way to communicate that is already through, that makes it less of a heavy lift for everybody involved in the IDA, is providing those links in a email bar or a signature bar that links to a link tree. So I've established a link tree that has just the preliminaries on there. Has Facebook, has the website, has Twitter, and I believe it has LinkedIn on there. If it doesn't yet, I will include it. that links to a JPEG that can go in the, and the JPEG includes follow us, the logos, the Brookhaven IDA logo, and that serves as a hyperlink to the link tree, which then basically puts all of the different platforms in one spot so people can link and follow. You'd be surprised in my previous experience how much, and it doesn't bog down the email at all. I mean, it doesn't provide any logistical errors or issues for the email. But what it does is it provides one link to an external source that has all of the different platforms on it. And really, I mean, in the day-to-day communication aspects of each individual member of the IDA, also the internal leadership of the IDA, the back and forth communication and colloquy, you would be surprised when people go down to that sub bar and might click that and follow you just based upon that signature invitation. I think it's a very minor lift. I've already created a mock-up that I sent over to Lisa and Amy last week. And I could really tailor it specifically to each member of the IDA board, as well as the internal employees and leadership of the IDA. So I could put their name in each one. It could all be uniform across the board. And I could create, I don't know, 30 different JPEG files with their name, their title, the logo, and then the social links for email correspondence back and forth as a way to drive traffic from the email to the larger catch basin of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the website, which looks great, by the way. The website looks beautiful. So
I think that that's definitely something that we should do with the staff. I did see it, Brian. I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to really pay attention to it, but I think that is something that the staff should do. Whether the board members want that or not is we could do case by case with whatever you guys think.
I mean, it's just a proposal, really. That's why I'm mentioning it here. If there's something logistically or on your side that makes it not feasible, we could do it on a case-by-case basis. That's no problem at all.
And you know what we can do, guys, is I can add it to my signature, and then you'll see it when I send you out an email. And if you think it's something that you would like done for your email, you can just let me know, and I can pass that over to Brian. And it's not like we all have to have it, although I do think the staff should all have it.
Any organic, we've been talking about it for a long time, testimonials from our projects, so that we can just throw that out onto YouTube, promote it on LinkedIn, promote it on,
Okay, so I've made a note of that for myself. And going forward, I know that Alan had done some testimonials in the past, but they're not like the video type of testimonial. And because of that, I mean, that anybody that uses Facebook or any sort of social media platform knows that every word you add is like almost less engagement. That being said, the video interaction is like 2-to-1 as far as an image versus a video, because of the way that social media works now, is that content runs automatically when you scroll over it, most of it with the autoplay feature associated with Facebook and Instagram specifically, and also probably Twitter too, if I'm not mistaken. LinkedIn doesn't have the autoplay feature. But that being said, I can absolutely set that in motion if upon the instance that Lisa or Amy has a recommendation of a person affiliated with one of the projects that might be particularly amenable to doing something along those lines, be it straight from the back of their telephone, you know what I mean, like a selfie style, thanks IDA, short video, 30 seconds or less. I think that that's a great opportunity to increase recognition. Plus, it's cross-branding, right? So it's beneficial to them. It's not solely beneficial to the IDA. It's also beneficial to their organizations as well.
So Gary, when Mike and Brian, when Mike was with you guys, he was working on this. I'm pretty sure that Amy sent Mike a list of leads.
Mike Martino?
Was that his last name?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
okay.
I didn't realize that email had been done. Consider it done. I'll be on the with him later today.
Wouldn't expect you to be aware of it. So we will get you that list. Maybe we'll update it a little bit and get it over to you. And Amy can work with you on introductions so that it's not a cold call.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Lisa, I just want to make sure, that, for the record with Brian, that, we have, there's so many organic ways, zero cost ways for us to get content to promote and push. And, as short of what I currently see, obviously from Alan or whatever, press gets out there, obviously that stuff should always be pushed. But the easy, the easy ask is, get a couple testimonials. If we do it, 2 a month, across all our products, and push that on all the different social media that we have, incorporate that into the ad budget, incorporate that into, some Google ads, when people want to learn more and we're targeting, the different demographics that we're targeting, this is an easy lift.
And we could definitely set that in motion, Gary. And actually kind of in the same exact vein of what you had just spoken about beneficial content generation. One of the points that I wanted to emphasize here is that we can do branded content as well, right? So like the post, anything that goes up on social media, we can put up with that logo attached with the figures, or the little bird for Twitter and the F for Facebook and the N for LinkedIn. We could put those on the bottom with follow us. So anytime they're shared or proliferated across the platform, that could facilitate drive into our social media universe.
Agreed. Thanks, Brian.
And I don't know if anybody watched Super Bowl last night. I'm sure everybody did.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
It was probably in the first or the second quarter, and it was a commercial that looked like just a one figure that was bouncing from part of the screen to part of the screen, and every time it hit the corners,
they had a problem, right? They had a problem with that.
No, that was a QR code.
Correct, but they said it wasn't working. Their computers crashed on the news this morning. Said.
Oh, did it? It worked on my end. I actually pulled it up.
They said it.
Well,
So I didn't try it, but it was for Bitcoin, where you could win. You win some money.
Oh, this was for Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase.
I'm sorry,
that Bitcoin world, online marketplace. But similar in that same component, I think that we can utilize the QR codes as well. So, because they're just so accessible these days, and I could make one of those for that link tree. And for those of you who might not know what a link tree is, it's basically like a URL address that you type it in, and it's just like 5 buttons that also has a URL address to all of the external sites. So you don't have to type in Facebook to get to Facebook for the Brookhaven IDA. It is all in one spot. It's like one-stop shopping. So if I was to create a QR code for that link tree, I could put that in the email signature. We could also print that out and disseminate it on the flyers, any sort of printed material that comes out from the Brookhaven IDA, any public notice, anything along those lines, that could be included there. So whomever reads it goes directly to that link tree, and in turn drives, funnels traffic to the social media sites. And it's really like nothing. I know it sounds very complicated, but it's like, it'll take me like 2 minutes.
Brian, can we choose what gets blasted out and what doesn't through this link tree?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I input all of the links. So the link and all it is a link to the Facebook. So when it comes to the content that will be absorbed by whoever visits there, they're all like, we have complete domain over that.
Okay. I'm not sure that I understand, but that's not saying much.
I'll send it to you in a step-by-step thing.
Okay.
If you click in that email that I sent you, if you click on the icon that I sent you, it goes to the link tree. It's like really like self-explanatory.
Okay.
But yes, we have control of all of the content. It's not just like a it's not the Wild West.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Question, Brian.
Anything.
I mean, one of the main purposes of getting PR out there is obviously to drive more business towards the IDA. But another aspect of it that I don't know if it's concern that we should have or not, but one of the things that I've noticed since I've been on the board, or maybe in the last year or so, is that addressing the general public is something that we don't readily do while we do address the industry. And the only time that the name IDA comes up with the public is in a negative fashion. Usually a project that, somebody's not happy about, and then they start writing nasty grams related to us and what we've just done. How do we start to get some positive things out to the general public, not the industry, but the general public, with regard to some of the great projects that we've done, the dollars that we're bringing into the community, the jobs we're bringing into the community, as opposed to them looking at it as we gave away the store, which I certainly don't agree with, or I wouldn't be on this board. But I think that's an area that we need to address that we maybe haven't, and maybe we haven't because it hasn't been as relevant as it is in the last year or so.
Right. So
I don't know how anybody else feels either.
I think to answer your question, that's a threefold approach, right? One is because obviously what an industrial development agency does is not, it's outside of like the normal vernacular of the average Brookhaven resident, let alone like the average Long Island resident. The only time they really know what you do is when James, Medora or another Newsday reporter or the News 12 or so on and so forth, prints about an upcoming project or the quote unquote breaks that were given or the payment in lieu of taxes, et cetera, right? So I think that the first main issue before we address a problem, we got to find out what the main issue is, right? And maybe that becomes like a public awareness campaign into what specifically in layman's terms the IDA does, right? Brings jobs in, fosters economic development, and furthers the interests, whether it comes to tourism, economic development, businesses, downtown, small, large business, et cetera, benefits the quality of life of the average everyday resident. So I think that you can do that. And now that the COVID world, I think, is coming to a close, God willing, I think that one of the ways that we can do that is through public, like whether it's public awareness campaigns, but it's also interacting with the projects that benefit the public, right? I think one of the most I think about Topgolf. I've spoken with this, with Lisa in the past, that is such I mean, it's got to be bringing hundreds and hundreds of people a day to Brookhaven, myself included. I live in Huntington, but myself included, I come there, you know what I mean? It's got to be a major boon on the local economy there. So providing the information in a digestible way, but also attracting people to those businesses that have benefited from the IDA services. And one of those things that we've done in the past that really kind of captures the average everyday business owner that we've done in the past is, like our business breakfast, like we did 2 years ago, I think it was before COVID, or it was probably like immediately before COVID, was our springtime business breakfast, right? Where people can come, they can meet the IDA, they RSVP in advance, they get, we do a continental breakfast. We did it at the Ronkonkoma Hotel in the past, but there's a handful of other locations that we could do it. And I would suggest doing it on scene at one of the projects that has been approved. That's beautiful, showing, the amazing, progress and the real success stories of those who have worked with the IDA. So you
Brian,
find.
can I interrupt you 1 minute?
hate-
Because hang on 1 second, Frank.
Yeah.
I had an event with my new group called Spheres of Influence And I had
Okay.
Lisa and Jimmy Tulo come and speak to about 45 people. It was in the middle of COVID, so I was shocked I got such a great group at Top Golf. And I have to tell you that every single person that I spoke with after that meeting said, oh my goodness, never knew that that's what the IDA did. Had no idea what an IDA does, what they're about. That's why I invited them, because I figured that was a great topic for a new group, because that's something that nobody else is doing. But in hindsight now, what you're saying is an ideal thing to do. I also say that everybody should be, well, whoever, but should be talking to the chambers and saying, hey, listen, Lisa, I'm going to make you more busy, but you should go and talk to the chambers, the business people, let them know what you do, because the business people are the people who live and breathe in our communities. They need to know. They have no idea, what an IDA actually does. So I think that it's very important. Brian, I commend you for saying that. And, maybe it's an endeavor we take on our own, just as the IDA, and host something. Hey, you want to know what the IDA of Brookhaven actually did? We'll talk about our jobs from 2021 or something, and go
Right.
through the list and explain what we
Excuse me,
did,
guys.
how we did it, and how it helped.
I have to go. I'll see you next
Bye,
meeting,
Marty.
right?
Oh, do we
Take
need-
care.
Bye,
Okay,
Marty.
guys, talk to you soon.
Hold on,
Take
let me,
care.
wait.
Thank you.
No, we still have a quorum. We're good. Bye,
Right.
Marty.
Brian, one other thought too, a former board member here, I used to refer to the local papers as the fish wrappers. But, articles in, whether it's the Patchogue Advance or the Beacon or any of those, might help as well, almost as a tutorial for the people in those communities. Just a thought.
Absolutely. And a profile story on what the IDA does, I think, is a great avenue to go to. And the internet, contrary to what a lot of people say about the internet and what it's doing to local news, it's really breathed new life into a lot of the local papers, because now they don't need a circulation count to have influence, you know what I mean? Because it gets shared and proliferated on social, which in turn drives readership, you know what I mean? So I can arrange those opportunities too, absolutely, on profile-based stories, and like a 411 on what the IDA is. I can definitely, that's well within my wheelhouse to reach out to the to the Ronkonkoma paper, to the Brookhaven paper, to the regional papers, and even the conglomerates that are all over the town of Brookhaven, to try to find a way to have like a public service, because that's within what they are responsible to do, is to report back to the community, or that's at least what they see themselves as part of the the fifth estate, if you will, to report back to the community on what is being done with their government and their tax dollars. So I could definitely sell that and try to secure some profile stories on 411, what the Brookhaven IDA does. Absolutely.
Brian,
Okay.
I just want to add to that, because I agree with what Lenore was saying, and because those are decision makers at a different level that we need to address and inform, and I think that's an area that we certainly can continue to do work in, and I know we did work before COVID, but we can continue to do work in. But my core problem is related kind of to where Fred was just now, getting the average Joe, because lately all we would do is read in those local papers about the bad IDA. We
It's
did
not
the
late,
project.
Frank, it's not lately. It's been.
Well, maybe I'm more conscious of it,
You're more conscious of it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably much more conscious of it. But anyway, going to what Fred said, trying to drill down to the average Joe who reads that paper, that reads those negative kinds of things, to try to get them to read some positive things about what we're doing. So I certainly support both of these.
And that also goes into a little what Gary had mentioned earlier, is these testimonials, because putting a person behind the real life impact of what the IDA does, right? So one of those things that we can do is the testimonials. Like, they helped me bring my business here, and now I'm doing blank amount of business, bringing this public service goods or service, so on and so forth, to this area, bringing XYZ tourism and interest, and, you know, Brookhaven makes the world takes types of story.
Well, think about it with Topgolf. I mean, you know, taking a video. We don't need a professional video crew. It literally is an iPhone, and you know, and talking to the the folks who are approved to talk to, and saying, you know, why, you know, how did this project benefit or how is this project benefiting, you know, you as a business, and how is this and then talking to other stakeholders about how this project is benefiting the town and the county. That way you've got engagement, and you're using some of the dollars that we're offering to promote in the right ways, where it is all positive. We get to guide and direct the narrative. And I think that we have marketing dollars to do that. Frank, to your point, the positivity of video engagement, can be tremendous. Obviously, profiles in all the local papers, that's wonderful. Anytime we have a press release, some papers pick it up, some papers don't. But if we're paying for promotion in social media, I mean, it's there in perpetuity for however long we're paying to promote it, as well as it remains on our social, our social properties.
At a risk of being rude, I'd like to conclude this before we lose a board member and can't close the meeting. So unless somebody has something important to add, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn, please.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Go, Ron.
So Lisa, can I discuss with you further, like the coordination of like a spring business breakfast? And it seems to be like, Topgolf seems to be like a really golden example of the good. And that's really tangible for everyday residents of Brookhaven and the surrounding area. Maybe, I mean, would anyone be opposed to highlighting that again, maybe doing a business breakfast there and bringing people there, showcasing the facility and showing what the Brookhaven IDA has done?
Sure.
And
Okay.
Brian, you and Amy can sit down and talk through some options.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll do that. And I appreciate everybody's time. I know I'm a little long-winded.
No, it wasn't you,
It
Brian. This was a long meeting.
We had a long meeting.
Yeah, thank you for being patient with us.
Everyone's all right. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion.
Second?
Don't move. Second.
I'm not even sure who's left, but Mr. Rocky,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter.
Yes.
I vote yes, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Take care.